Okay, this is episode 31 of Bible Mechanics, where I try to share with you things that help you understand how the Bible came together, what keeps it together, what was added to the original text written, things like the chapters and the verses weren't there when the prophets and the apostles wrote these, prophets writing the Old Testament, apostles writing the New. All things designed to help you be able to work your way around the Bible so that when you read it, you can focus on the words that have been written and get the most understanding out of them. So today I want to talk about concordances. A concordance is it's like a dictionary or encyclopedia, only it lists out words from the Bible and then chapter and verse citations for where you can find them. For example, this Bible that I'm holding in my hand right now, it has a concordance in the back. And certainly not all Bibles have a concordance in the back. Many of them do. And the ones that do, it's just called a concordance. Now, they do publish books that have all the words in the English Bible, and those are called an exhaustive concordance. So this is an example of one right here. This one's pretty heavy. This is all the words in the New American Standard Bible, and they're in alphabetical order, and you probably can't see it on the screen, but just like that concordance in the Bible I was just showing you, it's the same thing. It'll have a word. In this case, the word is day up here. And then it has a listing of the chapter, or the book and the chapter and the verse that it's in, and a little bit of the verse itself, a little bit of the wording of the verse, so you can see the word in its context. And then there's a number over here, and that number is tied to a dictionary. For the Old Testament, it's a Hebrew dictionary, and for the New Testament, it's a Greek dictionary. And that ties you to the respective words. So the word day, I think it's yom in Hebrew, I forget what it is in Greek, and you can look those up, because just because it says day in the English Bible doesn't mean it's always translated from the same Hebrew or Greek word. Just like English, we have synonyms, there's multiple words sometimes that have the same meaning. We can change our words around, and ancient languages are the same way. Now, they don't have as many interchangeable words as we do. The English has just so many words, and they're adding new ones all the time. But that's just the general idea of what a concordance looks like, and the difference between an exhaustive concordance and I think these would be called a selective concordance, although they're not usually labeled that. They're just shown in the back like that. And this one looks like it's maybe 20 or 30 pages in the Bible, whereas this bad boy, as they call things like this. Let's see how many pages we got here. Well, let's see, almost 1,700 altogether here. Now I've got another exhaustive concordance. This one. This is a little bit lighter weight than this one. But it's got all the same material. The paper's thinner, and the binder is not quite as heavy. But it's the same thing, and it's the New American Standard Bible as well. Now, the reason I have two different exhaustive concordances is that this one was for the New American Standard Bible 1977 edition. And then in 1995, they came out with another edition, and that's what this one is for. This goes with the 1995 edition. Now, they're not drastically different, but they're different enough that you would need a different concordance if you want an exhaustive book, or an exhaustive collection, or an exhaustive list of all the words that are in the Bible. Now, the main purpose of a concordance like this is to help people who don't read the original languages. Like if I could read Greek, then I would just buy a Greek New Testament. If I could read Hebrew, I'd just buy a Hebrew Old Testament and read them directly, because that's what the English translators are translating from. They're going to a Greek New Testament and a Hebrew Old Testament, and they're translating those words as they find them there. But we, like people like me, I speak English. That's the only language I speak, and I've studied 3 other languages, but I can't put a sentence together in any of them. When I was in junior high, I studied Latin. I kind of liked the class, but I don't remember. You retain some things, but not enough to put together a sentence. I'd recognize certain words. And then when I went to seminary, I learned Greek and Hebrew, but they were just dumping so many things on us. There's so many classes, and that was just 1 or 2. And if I was going to retain that knowledge, I needed to study it a lot more than I did. Not that I was that great a student anyway. Wasn't terrible, but just probably very average. And it's an ancient language. People aren't using it today. So, and there's different kinds of Greek. The New Testament was written in what's called Koine Greek. But it does give you access to a deeper study of the Bible when you can use when you can use a concordance, and then you can find out what the underlying words mean, and then you can compare, because sometimes you'll see the same word used in 2 different verses, but it's not the same underlying word. And you want to find out what those are and why, why the English words that were chosen. You can't always figure it out. You have to guess sometimes. But it gets you closer to the original words written by the prophets who wrote in Hebrew and the apostles who wrote in Greek. And that's the whole idea. Now, there's more, a little bit more I want to tell you about studying the Bible with a concordance, but I'll save that for the next episode and consider this a good introduction. God bless you as you read the Bible and seek to understand it so that you can do it. Amen.